We've all been there before. You come home from the office after a terrible day at work and think to yourself, there's no way I can do this for the next 40 years. Well, for most people, working for 4 decades or longer will be their reality, but not for you, because in this video I will share with you how you can retire in 10 years with no savings so you can reclaim your time freedom and live life on your own terms. Retirement is a term known across the entire working world, and hearing this word tends to spring up different emotions in different people. For instance, for those who are a few years away from retiring with a full pension, retirement is a financial milestone they are ready to enjoy. For those further away from retirement, this next chapter of their life has probably been given little thought, as so much time stands between them now and their ability to unlock time freedom. In short, retirement is perceived differently by different people, but one thing that remains common amongst employees is that we all know that one day we want to retire, and that day could not come soon enough for many of us. I don't think it's any surprise that the state of employment across the Western world has been in decline over the last number of years, which has people counting down the seconds until they punch into work one last time. But why has work lost its luster over the last few years? Well, there are a few reasons, and I think they're worth going over now, as hopefully they can act as a motivation for you to embark on your 10-year journey to retirement. First off, many workers these days feel as if they are working harder than ever, yet are still going backwards financially. If this is you, then feeling this way is completely normal because it's true. According to studies performed by NordVPN, employees in countries like the United Kingdom, Austria, Canada and the United States are putting in more hours at work than before the pandemic, all due to what they refer to as home working or working remotely. In fact, home working has led to a 2.5-hour increase in the average working day in those countries, with employees starting their workdays at 8 or 9 a.m. and working regularly until 8 p.m. at night. Now, of course, this wouldn't be so bad if you were being paid 1.5 times your base pay for all the extra time you're putting in, but as you guessed, this is seldom in the case. In fact, if you think you deserve a raise, gently tap that like button below so I can see where all my unpaid people are at. As of 2021, wages were increasing at an average rate of 3.6% in the United States. However, when inflation was factored in, this left workers with a 2% pay cut. So yes, more hours worked were effectively translating into making less money in real dollars. These two realities alone are enough for most people to want to quit their job and retire tomorrow, but even if you love your job, there's no way you can work it forever, and this is for a few reasons. The first reason you can't rely on an extensive career comes down to obsolescence. Let's say that right now I offered to give you a Motorola Razr. While it was the hottest phone at the time it came out, nowadays there would be no chance you'd even think about using it over your brand new state-of-the-art iPhone. Well, unfortunately, as you age, you become more like the Razr and less like the iPhone, and as a result, more employers are going to pass on the opportunity to retain or employ you, meaning that in your later years, if you don't already have a nest egg to rely upon, then you may find yourself in a less than ideal financial situation. Second, most people, physically speaking, won't be able to even perform their jobs well into their later years. Maybe you work in a physically demanding job and down the road your body simply won't be able to keep up. Alternatively, you may suffer a health event that leaves you with a much reduced capacity to work. Now, obviously we hope this never happens, but as you know, anything can happen in life, and if your ability to work becomes impaired, then your financial viability may be at risk. Finally, let's talk about the ultimate reason that you won't be working forever, which is that you will over time lose your desire to work. There is absolutely nothing worse than the feeling that every day for the next 40 years you will have to suffer through 8 or more hours a day at a job you dislike, all in the hopes of maybe one day retiring. Well, if you feel this dread now, can you imagine how much deeper this pain will resonate in 30 or 40 years down the road? In fact, the only situation worse than knowing you can't presently retire is knowing you don't even have the savings that will one day allow you to leave the working world. But don't worry, because right now I'm about to share with you a bulletproof 10-year plan that you can follow to retire within the next decade. Day 1 of your retirement timeline is one of great importance. It's where you will lay the foundation for what will be a 10-year quest towards ultimate time freedom and the day you can windmill slam your 2 weeks notice on your boss's desk, like you've been dreaming of doing for some time now. On this first day of your quest, you have to undergo a mental shift in your mind from your current view of retirement to one that can facilitate your 10-year retirement plan. Kind of like when Neo decides to take the red pill in The Matrix. You have to take the retirement red pill and get real with the journey you're about to go on, because when you take the red pill, you will have to bear all the trials and tribulations that come with achieving retirement in a fraction of the normal time. As such, your mental shift will require you to possess two things: a steadfast sense of commitment and a why. When it comes to your why, understand your reasoning for wanting to retire in the next decade. Maybe you want more free time to raise your family or work on your passion. Whatever it is, make this why crystal clear in your mind. Then commit to the goal. Tell yourself that no matter what life throws at you, you will align all your life's decisions to retiring in 10 years' time. Yes, this may mean pushing off vacationing with friends or having an overpriced wedding, but if retiring in the next decade means that much to you, then giving up these things should not even make you bat an eye. In fact, if you have a burning desire to retire and live on your own terms, then hit that subscribe button below, because I'll be talking a lot more about financial freedom on this channel in the future. Next, as we pass through the first 3 months of your 10-year retirement timeline, your expenses must become your main point of focus. As you probably suspected, amassing enough money to retire within just 10 years won't likely allow you to live an overly lavish lifestyle when it comes to material goods, and as such, you need to adjust your lifestyle now to not only make the transition into retirement life easier, but also to free up the money you'll need to save towards the next chapter of your life as well. During this 3-month time frame, you should be focusing on doing two things. First, find every way possible to start saving more money. Some of the most impactful lifestyle changes you can make include cutting out expensive nights out, looking for cheaper living accommodations, and trying to commute as cost efficiently as possible. Yes, this means you may have to start taking the bus. These 3 costs are typically referred to as your big 3 expenses and make up roughly 70% of the average person's budget. As such, these are prime expenses to be cut en route to saving a ton more money. Now, contrary to most people's advice, I don't think a Starbucks coffee here or a night out there is going to ruin your chances of retiring in 10 years, and in fact, I think it may help long term. Retiring in this short of a time frame takes motivation and discipline, and these small treats from time to time may be just what you need to keep yourself on track during times of waning resolve. Your second financial task during this phase is to eliminate all non-essential debt. This includes auto loans, credit card debts, and payday loans, which I pray to God you don't have any of in the first place. Having these forms of high-interest debt basically guarantee you'll be retiring later than you want to, so eliminating them in short order is key to pulling off this 10-year plan. Moving on, during the second half of your first years towards your 10-year retirement, you're going to want to start stashing away as much money as you can. This should be rather easy now that you have your budget dialed in and debt out the way. At the same time, this is where you should be opening up a retirement account if you haven't already, so that you can take advantage of tax breaks when investing towards your retirement years. Finally, during the first year, you should be researching ways to make money outside of your 9-to-5 job and starting to cultivate skills to facilitate doing just that. Therefore, after year 1, you should not only have committed yourself 100% to retiring in 10 years, but you should also have streamlined your expenses, eliminated your high-interest debt, and finally have started investing towards your financial future. Now, it's time to do 2 things. First, hit that subscribe button below because I'm about to change your financial life forever, and number 2, start to make money outside of your 9-to-5 job. Now, I'm all for saving money, but if saving money made you rich, then most of us would be abundantly wealthy by now. The reality is you can only achieve impressive financial results by doing 2 things in combination: making high levels of income and investing consistently. As such, in year 2, you must do whatever you can to raise your income. Given that you would have been doing preliminary research in year 1 of how to make money outside your 9-to-5 job, in year 2 you should be ready to turn those ideas into dollars. I personally recommend learning a high-income skill such as copywriting or graphic design, because this kind of work is rather income efficient compared to working a part-time job that will have you earning minimum wage into perpetuity. In fact, when I was learning how to make high-quality animations as my high-income skill, I exclusively relied on inexpensive platforms like Skillshare and YouTube to help me learn this skill, which is perfectly aligned to our goal of saving as much money during this critical 10-year time span. In fact, within the first years of freelancing, I was able to start making an extra $2,000 a month, which was critical into funding my own retirement endeavors. Then once this skill starts making you money, as you guessed, you'll be investing every last penny you make into facilitating your 10-year escape plan. However, this investment may look a little different than you'd expect. What I want you to do is focus on your disposable income in two different directions. The first is your traditional retirement account, which we talked about earlier. And the second is an online passive income business. This online business can come in the form of e-commerce stores, blogs, social media accounts, and the like. The reason you'll be doing this is because simply relying on retirement accounts to facilitate a 10-year retirement timeline will likely not work. For example, let's say that in year 1 of your retirement journey, you're able to invest $500 a month or $6,000 a year. Then, in years 2 through to 10, you can invest $2,500 a month based on your newly increased income and frugal spending ways to a total investment of $30,000 a year. This would leave you with just $320,000 in investments in 10 years' time. Based on a 4% withdrawal rate, you would only have $12,400 to live on, which of course is simply not enough, no matter how minimalistically you live. This is why, in combination with your time, you're going to invest some amounts of your disposable income, building up an online passive income business to bridge the income gap between what your investments can provide and how much money you need to live off of. The reason I'm so bullish on building an online business to help facilitate your retirement dreams is threefold. First, most online businesses take very little capital to start, which makes it perfect for someone like you who has no savings and wants to still meet an aggressive retirement timeline. Second, online businesses can typically become profitable within the first few years of existence. For example, my YouTube channels generally take a year to start making money and require less and less of my time as they mature and develop. As such, in year 2, aim to start building your passive income empire. Identify a business model that aligns to your interests and goals and start by learning everything you can about it. Then, ideally by year 5, you will have an online business that is making you a few $1,000s a month, and that can act as the gap fill between your investment income and your monthly cost of living. Finally, once this business has gotten off the ground and has proven to be profitable, begin to replace yourself in the business by outsourcing your tasks. Obviously, this isn't retirement if you're still working, so by taking a bit less money to free up your time, you put time freedom back on the table. Now, if you ask me, combining your nest egg and online passive income business is a great way to retire. But in this next video, I will share with you a strategy to achieve early retirement that takes much less work with all the same benefits. So click onto this next video and let's get started.